Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2C TV, and the first live update for you guys comes from the Labour Party, the shadow cabinet. Problems inside Britannia continue. It's not just about what's going on around the world. We are currently facing a bit of a homegrown crisis when it comes to trust in British politics, but of course and our institutions in general. In this video we're going to talk to you guys about what's going on with Keir Starmer. If you guys watched the channel yesterday, you know the problems that he's currently facing. Is a bit of a fence-sitter, Keir Starmer, as you guys know, and he's been going around trying to pander to all sides at the same time, and he's struggling. So there are a number of cabinet ministers, shadow cabinet ministers from the Labour Party who are threatening to resign. We're going to talk about that. Hello to everybody in the live chat. Actually, speaking of the live chat, there is a quick update for you guys. As I promised, earlier today, I spoke to YouTube and Google in regards to the problem that you guys raised yesterday and recently. The England flag emojis on the live chat in the comment section, they don't appear, and they are essentially banned on YouTube. And so people complained. I mentioned it to YouTube today. They're going to be looking into it and fixing it. My theory is that somebody working at Google and YouTube at some sort of division at one point decided that the England flag is politically incorrect, so let's just ban it. Or basically, and then that setting has not been updated since then. Maybe there was some sort of protest. I don't know. They're going to have excuses. But I told them to fix it, so I'll keep you guys posted on that progress. I can assure you, we will fix this problem. All right, let's talk about the shadow cabinet. Keir Starmer. So yesterday we reported he went to this mosque in South Wales, right? The South Wales Islamic Centre, because he was afraid of the pressure that was put on him by the Labour Party, the far left members, the Islamic members, everybody who are kicking off saying, why? How dare you support Israel's right to self-defense? And so they said, you need to pander to the Muslims. Obviously, there's a lot of votes for the Labour Party when it comes to the Muslim community. So that is the reason that they decided to have this visit. But of course, when they went to the mosque afterwards, the main imam of the mosque apparently started crying because he didn't know about this visit. They didn't even know who Keir Starmer was, which is a little bit embarrassing. And now we have a situation where they said we didn't give consent. So there's a backlash. And now he and Angela Rayner has been having meetings with the shadow cabinet, with the backbench MPs in the Labour Party and the senior members of the voluntary party to stop them from resigning. A lot of them are putting pressure on Keir Starmer to resign himself. And they said if he doesn't resign, then we will resign. So this is following the meeting. So Starmer and Angela Rayner, his deputy, spoke to about 12 Muslim MPs in the Labour Party and also members of the House of Lords yesterday to calm the tensions. But the efforts have massively failed. The pressure continues to increase on Keir Starmer, which is not really a surprise considering that nobody knows exactly what he stands for, even inside the Labour Party. So this is his biggest weakness at this point. Up to 4 shadow cabinet ministers are on the resignation watch, this is according to sources at the Times, including Sarah Owen. Yeah, of course, Sarah Owen is one of them, the shadow faith minister. Why did they even have a shadow faith minister? Shadow faith minister, yep. Rachel Hopkins is the shadow cabinet office minister with a real operation underway to keep them on side. There is a real concern that if we lost a shadow minister, for example, that all of the others come under real pressure. One of them, a member of the Starmer's senior team, have said. This is actually Keir Starmer's own office admitting this. Not a good look. Definitely not a good look. So instead of actually going around and doing a classic political spin to say, it's just a couple of people who are angry, we're having discussions with them, nothing's going to happen. Instead of doing that, they're actually admitting that the whole House of Cards is falling apart, and if they resign, then other people might resign as well. So it's not really a stable situation. Keir Starmer has come out to say, It's clear that the amount of aid and essential utilities getting into Gaza is completely insufficient to meet the humanitarian emergency on the ground. In the long term, there can only be a political solution to this crisis, which is why we need to restart the hard work of talks for a two-state solution of a viable Palestinian state alongside a safe and secure Israel. Really? Is it some sort of original idea? And are you telling me that the Arab side, Hamas and the Islamic Jihad, are going to be saying yes to this idea? They don't want it. They don't want a two-state solution. It's because they've said it. I'm not saying it. They've said it. And they're going to try their best to prevent the Palestinian National Authority from even negotiating. And the last, the person who tried to be the hero of Palestine, Arafat, the guy rejected any idea. He just stormed out. He had a meltdown. The guy who one day he would say, I'm a Palestinian. The next day he said, I'm not a Palestinian, I'm a Muslim. Like, just make up your mind. These people have no allegiance to Palestine because they don't even know what Palestine stands for. It was just a name of the tribe, Philistines. And now they're going out, they're saying, well, yeah, we really care about the territory. You don't care about the territory. Hamas don't care about Gaza, even if Gaza gets erased. The other side don't really care about the Palestinian side. They're just keeping it there to prevent Israel from being Israel. And Israel doesn't want the territories anymore. They don't want Gaza. They don't want the West Bank, at least the Arab side. They say, well, this is just too much trouble. So as long as you can protect Jerusalem, as long as you can protect the Jewish nation, then just stay out of Israel. Everything's going to be fine. They have offered the two-state solution. But again, the problem goes back to the Labour Party. The problem goes back to the fact that Keir Starmer is getting the wrong advice again. On the one hand, he wants to play the big boys game. He wants to become Prime Minister. And in order to become Prime Minister, he has to say the things that is part of the global consensus, which is right now, you have to say, Israel has a right to exist, but at the same time, you have to criticize Israel when it comes to the airstrikes. That's what every country is doing. Macron's doing it, Biden is doing it, all of them are doing it, Trudeau's doing it. So that is the current line from all presidents and prime ministers, whether you like it or not. So he thought he could do that. But the problem with the political left in the Labour Party is they only hear one part of what he's saying. They only heard Israel has a right to exist. They didn't hear when he said, oh, by the way, Israel shouldn't do airstrikes too much on civilians. We're going to go to the live chat to get your reaction. I can still see people doing so this is how it looks, the England flag emoji, black flags on my screen. So if you joined us late, I just gave you an update earlier, beginning of the live stream. I have spoken to YouTube and Google, raised this issue. I have my contacts, so it's not like a customer service email. I've spoken to people I know, and they are actually looking into it. They didn't know. The people I know, they didn't know. And my theory is that somebody working at one of the divisions at YouTube, they basically decided to censor the England flag emojis a while ago. But I did raise, I said, this is not really a controversial flag. It's a flag of the country, England. And a lot of people are complaining. Your own YouTube viewers, and if people unsubscribe and leave YouTube, you're going to be in trouble. So they're actually going to be fixing it. So I will keep you guys posted. This problem will get fixed, I can assure you. But it's just a matter of is it going to take half a day, a few days, a few weeks. But I'll continue to fight against this unnecessary censorship of the England flag emoji, as you can see. But don't worry, they are now on top of it. All right. So, by the way, if they don't do it, I'm continuing the fight. I'm not going to give up until they actually sort out the England flag emoji. It's such an unnecessary thing to do. The other stuff that we have, by the way, is Liz Truss is kicking off again because Rishi Sunak has decided to invite China going to the AI Summit. We're going to have an AI Summit, the artificial intelligence conference that is going to include a lot of stakeholders. This is basically, Rishi Sunak was under a lot of pressure, and the idea was that he has to do some sort of conference to reassure the public that we are going to protect you from the threat of from coming from AI. And they said, well, we need to get governments involved, we need to get corporations involved, and individuals and everybody else. The problem with that situation is that China has been invited. China should not be invited, because why would you trust the Communist Party with this sort of nonsense? So Liz Truss has written a letter to the Prime Minister to ask him to revoke the invitation to China, she's right. She's absolutely spot on. But will Rishi Sunak actually listen to Liz Truss, considering both Rishi and his best friend Jeremy Hunt are quite close to China in terms of mindset? Jeremy Hunt praised the Chinese Communist Party's efforts during the lockdown. Rishi Sunak has links business-wise to a lot of Asian companies. Let's just say that's all we can say. And they have been quite reluctant in regards to actually condemning China and saying that China is a threat. So we are where we are. Let's go to the live chat. Sir Nigel Freud actually points out that you can use the this is the trans flag emoji. WTF is this? Yeah, it's been embarrassing that you can have that flag emoji and many other flags, but not the England flag. But as I said, I have actually spoken to YouTube now, so they're going to be fixing that problem. Soon we're going to have the England flag emoji back as well. But of course, a lot of people in the live chat are also promoting the Union flag, the flag of the empire as well. Ariane says that the Union flag, it's showing here in India, I think. Blackout lasers happen. Well, that's the Union flag. We're talking about the England flag. Try to post the England flag to see if it works. Your Union flag is allowed. The England flag, the St. George's flag, has not been allowed. But that only recently-ish. It used to be, you could do it before, at least a couple of years ago, I remember. But they're going to fix that, don't worry. I'm on top of it. They don't want to anger me. All right, let's go to you guys. What do you think about Keir Starmer? Secret Squirrel says, every time Keir Starmer farts, the wind changes. That is a good analysis. I don't know what this comment is. Ricky says, China is the home of the atheists. No, not really sure if that's relevant. Bonker says, a prominent Tory MP from Surrey has been charged with a party of sleaze. MP from Surrey. I'm trying to think who that could be. There's been so many MPs. Actually, on that front, the other update that we have is it's not just about the Labour Party going down. There's a lot of crises at the Tory Party as well. Peter Bone has officially been suspended from the House of Commons and for 6 weeks, which means by-election is now likely in his seat, Wellingborough, I think. And so that's going to be another problem for the Tory Party and Rishi Sunak's cabinet. But that shows you both parties are facing crises on a regular basis. But the Tory Party is facing new level problems because whether it's the Tory sleaze when it comes to the lobbying scandal or when it comes to touchy sexual stuff, all this is becoming too regular when it comes to Tory MPs. We've seen way too many cases now, which has been on both sides, but the Tory Party, way too many MPs are in trouble over that sort of stuff. With Peter Bone, it's been bullying scandal, which he's now been found guilty. Initially it was just accusations, but now the case is closed. Both bullying as well as sexual misconduct, let's just say. Apparently he revealed himself, he exposed himself. But again, we have to also be objective and balanced to say he still denies what he has been accused of and now obviously confirmed. But at this point you have to either believe the verdict or the accused person. So that's where we are. Also last night when I was at the outside the Scotland Yard, the new Scotland Yard building, we reported live from the protest and the pro-Israeli protests. It was against the Metropolitan Police's lack of action during last Saturday's pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas rallies. Two people were arrested. I did film live the beginning of the live stream when I was there. We did see this guy being arrested, being taken away, and there have always been people outside these protests, the agitators who throw things, who are inciting violence. It's not just, by the way, it's not just about the free speech issue. It's not really, they're not just going out and saying, we don't like Israel, that's just free speech. But when you threaten people, individual Jewish people, and then you claim that your problem is with the Israeli government, it makes no sense. Why would you target random innocent Jewish people if your problem is with Netanyahu and his government? So 2 people have been arrested. 1 man, this guy that we filmed, and a woman as well. But the point of this, and I said it during the live stream last night, it was interesting that this man was arrested within 12 seconds. As he was there, the police were on top of it very swiftly, took him away. Isn't it interesting that when there is a massive group of people protesting against the police, saying that the police should be on top of things, and then when somebody is there to be arrested, they are very, very quick to do it? Very impressive, right? Very impressive of the police. That for the first time, they acted very quickly. But it could just be a coincidence that the police officers that day, last night, were very smart and quick. That's where we currently are with this idea of policing in Britain. But it was also interesting, the organizers of the event yesterday, they clarified this is not an anti-police protest, and this is a protest against the leadership of the Metropolitan Police and Mark Rowley, and of course Sadiq Khan as the police commissioner. And this is the biggest issue that we have when it comes to individual police officers. Even if they wanted to do their job, they can't really. Barry Mamaya, was he the one mentioned as the National Front? No, that was a different guy. There was also a guy, there was also someone else at the end of the protest, and that's the one that we missed last second. People started shouting at each other. There was someone from the National Front, apparently. And then people started shouting, and he went away. But no, that was a different person. And says, where's the comment? Was the arrested man an actor? Actually, on the issue of actors, we have a number of videos for you guys tonight, every half an hour after this live stream. Don't go anywhere because we're gonna have so many updates. One of them is about this actor in Gaza. Is part of Hamas, and it is absolutely fascinating because we discovered that he has been in various scenarios over the last couple of weeks. One day he's celebrating, the next day his house is destroyed, and the next day he was in a hospital, died, and then the following day he came back to life. It's a brilliant story. We'll talk about him later on this channel. I can still see people still attempting to do to post the England flag emojis. I don't know why we're still trying when you know it's not going to happen on the live chat. So, but people are still trying. As I said, I've spoken to YouTube. They're going to be fixing that problem for us. They know they have to. We will never surrender. So we are talking about Keir Starmer. If you just joined the live stream, we're talking about how he's been all over the place. He's initially tried to play with the big boys by saying, "Hey guys, I am an ally to Israel and Jewish people," right? And then he got a lot of attacks from the Labour left, the far left of the Labour Party, and the Muslim community in the Labour Party. So he decided to organise this visit to a mosque in South Wales. Kind of backfired because nobody knew who he was. Nobody cared about who he was. And they felt that they were tricked, which they were. So now there are all these pressures on Keir Starmer to resign. He's refusing to resign. So we've had a number of Labour members who have resigned, and we now have shadow cabinet ministers, 4 of them at least, who could be resigning soon. Molina says, yes, the free civilian Palestinians showed their intent. They weren't asking for aid. I mean, that's again, this is also, by the way, is an internal and external issue for Gaza, because the supporters of Gaza here, the ones who claim that they care about civilians, somehow, by the way, have you noticed the people in politics and social media, the people who suddenly become so virtuous, they become supporters of humanity. They say war is bad. They say politicians lying is a bad thing. We need to tell the truth. We need to keep everybody safe. We need to be nice to our human beings and all the other people, right? These are the same people. Every single one of them dig deep into their lives. They are the worst human beings. They lie, they cheat on their husbands or their wives, they stole things, they started fights in a pub, they start fights on the train, they have rows with their neighbors, they fall out with their mother or with their father, and again, they lie. These people are hypocrites. So all these virtuous humans who are claiming to be so perfect, oh, we just want world peace. You clearly have some issues in your own personal life. You're projecting. Nobody is an angel, not even Mother Teresa. So if anybody goes out there like promoting some sort of perfection from humanity, saying, oh no, I don't like when politicians lie, or as people start conflicts or start fights, oh, so rude, right? What, did you not just start a fight with a random person in a car park outside Sainsbury's just because he took your parking spot? Did you not just steal from someone? Did you just lie to your own employee or employer or anybody, your own family? So forget about these people who are claiming to be so pro-human. These are the same people who would bring back capital punishment for people who just steal an apple from Tesco. And now suddenly they're so in favor of humanity. Oh, they don't like politicians lying. Shut up. All right, Leslie Manning, thank you so much, Leslie Manning, for your super sticker, £5 super sticker. I appreciate it. Let's go back to the update, because Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, panicking, obviously. They started having meetings with they have spoken to 12 Muslim MPs and members of the House of Lords. And the problem with this is that some of them have calmed down. Some of them apparently it's fueled the anger. And so they have now said, Keir Starmer must resign. If he doesn't resign, well, they initially told him, Keir Starmer needs to go out there and condemn Israel and withdraw support from Israel. He's not going to do that because he wants to be Prime Minister. And then, they said he needs to resign. Afterwards, they basically said, well, we're going to resign. So that's the idea. By the way, before I forget, Youssef Haddad, who was the guy, a couple of days ago, we showed you a video. He was the Israeli Arab who went to the university in Auckland, in New Zealand. He spoke to a member of the pro-Palestinian society, and he educated her, taught her basically that she's been lied to. We are getting him. He's going to come on the channel, hopefully. I'm trying to sort that out for you guys there. Youssef Haddad. He's actually been very good on social media recently. If you haven't seen that video, go check out. It's on the channel. The Arab, Israeli Arab who did that in New Zealand. Up to 4 shadow cabinet ministers are now on resignation watch, according to the sources that have now confirmed it to the Times as well, including Sarah Owen, who is the shadow faith minister. Yeah, that's a thing. And Rachel Hopkins, the shadow cabinet office minister, with a real operation on the way to keep them on side. Rah. The problem with this whole situation is that even the Keir Starmer's central office, his actual office, they've come out to admit that this is not really a good situation. They said, there's a real concern that if we lost even one shadow minister, for example, that all of the others will come under real pressure, according to a senior advisor to Keir Starmer. It is fascinating. Instead of denying it, instead of going out there to say, hey, everything's fine. We've spoken to the MPs and the House of Lords and everybody else, and we are on top of it. Nope, they're basically admitting that they don't have any control. Speaking of control, the other thing I was going to mention to you guys, which I forgot earlier, is there's another update later tonight, I think, or tomorrow, about the World Health Organization pandemic treaty, because that battle is still ongoing, and it feels like Tedros, the head of WHO, is getting a little bit desperate because they have stepped up their game when it comes to the publicity, communications and marketing over this pandemic treaty. They're not just lobbying companies, they're not countries and governments, they're also very much proactive on social media nowadays. So something is definitely happening. The backlash has started. They can see that they're being exposed. So we'll keep you guys posted on that as well. Parson says, why don't you interview Owen Jones? It's because Owen Jones is a liar who has blocked me on Twitter And every time I see him, he says, yeah, Maya, yeah, sure, I'll come on the channel. Then he disappears again. And then he just becomes rude. And then, you know what he does? He goes to, for example, Tory party conference or any gathering that's more right-leaning. And he annoys people, he irritates people, he goes out there and asks stupid questions. And when you go to him and ask a simple question about, whatever's happening with the woke culture or socialism, he says, oh, this is just nonsensical questions. You don't have to ask this question. You're just trying to divide and stir the pot. I'm like, that's literally your job, Owen. Pot kettle Owen Jones. So he's a little bit of a creep anyway. So yeah, he's not coming on the channel. I've invited him before. I'm now giving up. So anyway, Keir Starmer has come out to... he's desperate, so he keeps making statements about his position on Palestine and Israel. And the more he does it, he's digging. He keeps digging and digging and digging. But he's not able to actually calm down the tensions. He says, it is clear that the amount of aid and essential utilities getting into Gaza is completely insufficient to meet the humanitarian emergency on the ground. In the long term, there can only be a political solution to this crisis, which is why we need to restart the hard work of talks for a two-state solution of a viable Palestinian state alongside a safe and secure Israel. That was the idea from the beginning. But then, of course, the Arab side decided to start attacking. And then the Israeli side went a little bit extreme after the 60s and 70s. They took some of the extra land and they gave away too much land. And then it's just been a completely mess. An absolute mess because successive governments and authorities from both sides have made mistakes. And now ordinary people are being hurt and harmed. Again, none of this would be happening this month and this week if it weren't for Hamas invading Israel. But everybody's forgotten about that, the trigger. And everybody's forgotten that literally, I'm going to show this to you right now. Within the last few hours, we got confirmation that even more missiles have been sent into Israel. Let me just bring up the update for you guys from Trey Yinks, our trusted source. There we go. This is literally 1 hour ago. Emergency sirens in Tel Aviv being overheard. Let's bring this on. There we go. Large explosions heard along the Lebanese border. That's the northern side of Israel. And Trey himself also mentioned that large barrage of rockets also targeted from Gaza towards Israel. So the mainstream media are not reporting any of this in Britain. They are simply talking one-sided about the missiles coming from Israel to Gaza, which everybody knows about because that's all they talk about every day. But they are not balanced when it comes to reporting. They're not reporting the other side, so we have to do it instead of the mainstream media. They're not reporting that and every single day over the last 2-3 weeks there has been airstrikes from Gaza into Israel. Okay, let's quickly go back to the live chat to get your reaction. The Labour Party has lost its majority of Oxford City Council after a 9th councillor resigned from the party. Councillor Barbara Coyne is the latest to leave in protest. That's also, we did do a video a couple of days ago when the resignation started inside the Labour Party, local councillors and senior members. It's extremely hard to keep up. I cannot tell you the exact number of Labour councillors and Labour branch chairman and the senior members, how many of them have resigned. I can show you that. Thank you so much, Mickman007, for updating us from Oxford. I can assure you some of these resignations are harming the local Labour parties across the country. And that is the key point. That is the reality, that it's not just about what's going on with Keir Starmer and his toolmaker dad and his shadow cabinet. It's also about the power and control that the Labour Party has right now across the country over these local councils, and they matter. So the more they lose control, of course, the more Keir Starmer will be undermined when it comes to the upcoming general election. It's a very tough situation because a lot of us a lot of people who think like me, we want Rishi Sunak to be punished and this Tory cabinet. We don't want to encourage bad behaviour by randomly supporting the Tories. We also don't want the solution to be Keir Starmer Prime Minister. I don't understand what it has to take for this country to actually provide us with a solid third party, like actual political party, real movement, not, the small efforts which are still appreciated, whether from the left with the Green Party and the Lib Dems, or from the right, Reform UK and all the others. We still appreciate it. There's still an effort, absolutely. But that movement, with big money behind it, with big organisation, with big manpower, local councillors campaigning, winning local elections, by-elections, actually doing it rather than being the underdog. We need a real power when it comes to third parties. When we have that, then we can actually see the electorate considering those parties. You cannot expect the people of this country, who are mostly not political, and they don't really watch this channel or BBC News or anything, they're just too busy with their own lives, and what they know of in their head, consciously and subconsciously, two colours, red and blue, Tory and Labour, and then next election they're just going to vote the same way. You can't blame them. This country is not a two-party system. It's a top two-party system. And I'm not a defender of the system in complete way. I still want to reform the system. But we are not America. America is more two-party system. We are top two, which means theoretically you can replace the top two, or at least one of them. Theoretically. So there will be some people in the comment section saying, yeah, theoretically, but it's very hard to do. A lot of things are hard to do. Muhammad apparently flew to the moon on a horse. I don't know how he did that, but I'm sure the horse had wings. Yes, I did. I'm sure. If Muhammad could go to, was it the moon or he went somewhere? Yeah, he went to the moon. No, he split the moon and he went. If Muhammad could go to the moon on a winged horse, we can actually get behind a party, a third party, proper party, with, as I said, local councillors everywhere, local branches everywhere. Each local branch has 50 members, 100 members in them, like the main two parties. And then we could go out there and tell the public, guys, there's a third solution. Right now, they can't expect themselves to actually consider voting even a Green Party, even Lib Dems, let alone Reform UK or Reclaim Party or anything like that. But again, I'm not making it sound too easy. I don't want to make it sound too easy because there is a vested interest when it comes to politics. There's a lot of big money, donors and corporations and CEOs who would be trying their best to prevent a third party from coming up. So that's the real battle. The cancel culture, the banks who would refuse to give a bank account to a new party. That is the big problem. The problem is not necessarily the electoral system. The problem is not also the electorate, the voters themselves. And the problem is not necessarily the leadership of the Labour Party or the Tory Party. It's the vested interest. They are the ones who are preventing any progress, including a third party coming up. When it comes to Keir Starmer, John says, let's not forget that Starmer backed Jeremy Corbyn, who hates Israel. Jeremy Corbyn also hates the Jews. Allegedly, Jeremy, allegedly. Don't sue me again. Who hates Israel, plus his wife is Jewish. That's disgraceful for him to back Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know how they managed to do that. It's not just about Starmer. All these shadow cabinet members of the Labour Party right now, they're the senior ones. Every single one of them backed Jeremy Corbyn. And I'm like, I can't trust you. It's like with Rishi Sunak, who was Boris Johnson's chancellor, and now saying, I'm against everything that Boris Johnson did. What? Wow. Mark says, yes, Maya, theoretically, as you say, but it is only ever one of the two parties that ever gain power. And because of it, they have become arrogant. It's because they have not felt the fear that the electorate could move away from them. As I said, we are not a two-party system, we are top two, which means if the voters actually vote for the third party, like the Brexit Party beat the Tories and the Labour Party in 2019, as you remember. I know it's a different election, but it matters. It shows that the electorate could actually change their mind. In America, it's a two-party system, as in, you would not even get platformed as an independent. They would only give platform, the media, the conventions, the actual system would only platform Democrats and the Republicans. Peter says, oh yeah, you are showing on screen 319,000 subscribers, but you are now at 321,000. It's very difficult. We have actually, it's a good reminder. Thank you, Peter. I'm actually going to change it now. It's a good reminder because the last few days, the last couple of weeks on this channel, I need to give a massive thank you. Thank you so much to every single one of you who have been supporting me and my work, because it's been very hard. I've been trying to stay on top of everything. We've been all over the place, doing so many live streams, doing protests, live reports from everywhere, and the normal news reports, that stories that are not getting reported by the mainstream media. And the number of subscribers could go up so fast. Now, literally, was it a couple of months ago, we were celebrating 300,000 subscribers that we did a party as well. It's a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago. It's going up so quickly, it's difficult to keep up and difficult to update the numbers. Thank you for the reminder. Is it 20? Yes, it is 321 now. Wow, let's just quickly update this for you guys. There we go, 321,000 subscribers. Thank you, Peter, for reminding me. And again, thank you to everybody who have been sharing the videos and, of course, getting everybody else to subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the home of chaos. You know how some alternative new media people want to call themselves, oh, voice of common sense, voice of reason. Nope, this is the home of chaos, and you are welcome. We are chaos to the establishment. We are chaos to status quo. This is the new slogan of the channel. Yeah. Gary says, first class by my TCMT, and the team keep it going. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maya. Although there's a question mark there. Thank you, Maya. Job well done, pal. Thank you very much for the support. Barry's shouting at me, Maya, we are with you all the way. Thank you, Barry. Anyway, let's go back to the comments regarding Keir Starmer and, of course, the other idiot, Rashid Sunak. What's going on? Ricky Gervais should be Prime Minister. The way everyone gets offended equally. That way, yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Yeah, and he's a classical liberal. Why not? He's not woke, but he's a classical liberal. Resist the Dystopia says, I love your channel, bud. Thank you very much. What's going on with this? Stuart says, I propose the military call. The new British tank the Abbott. That would be a good idea. As a combat veteran, Starmer, no, get rid of the clown. I'm voting for reform. It's time to drain the swamp. We need a party that represents the British people. Oh, and I'm a man. Good to know, Uncle Frank. Yes, you are definitely a man. Yeah, I mean, there is still a bit of hope behind a party like Reform UK if they get everything right. But again, these are friends of mine, Richard Tice and many others in the Reform UK. But I've been objective. When it comes to the local elections, when it comes to all these by-elections, they flopped, especially the local elections. The whole idea was, I've been saying this for about 2 years now, 3 years. If you want to be a small party, third party, you want to go up, do not target the general election. Target the local elections first and then by-elections. By-elections are a good warm-up, but local elections, do you know why? Do what UKIP did. Get local elections, win them, get local councillors. Do you know what happens when you get local councillors? It's not just about controlling councils. Local councillors means the local members who are councillors are now obligated to become more hardcore when it comes to activism. They could get more people involved, and each local area will create their own official branch with 50 to 100 members, because you have local councillors. You have influence in the community. Then you build it up from there, and then you target the general election. And you win. You can win. You can get close to winning. If Nick Clegg could become Deputy Prime Minister, anybody can. And the Liberal Democrats are not really a big party. It's an illusion that the Liberal Democrats have been the third party. Do not believe the propaganda that the Liberal Democrats are a serious political party. They were never serious. It was just by default. When are you having Yusuf Haddad on, man? Yeah, soon, hopefully. I've been in touch now, so kind of hopefully it's going to sort it out, and his people. If they get a reply and everything else, I'll get him on the channel soon. It's the Israeli Arab guy who did this video when he went to a university campus in Auckland, I believe, and spoke to this girl who was a part of the pro-Palestinian society who had no idea about the history of Palestine or Israel. So he had to teacher, which was, he did in a very nice manner, and she was very receptive. So that was a good example of political discourse. Anyway, we have been ranting for almost 40 minutes. Let's wrap this up because we have a lot to talk about throughout the evening now. It is almost evening. And we're going to give you some updates about the World Health Organization pandemic treaty. We're going to talk about the Foreign Office, the civil servants who are still not working in the office despite the crisis in the Middle East. Rachel Reeves is being accused of plagiarizing. And there's an actor in Gaza, Hamas actor. We're going to expose him later on as well. And we're going to talk about the truth about the Israel occupation accusation. We are also going to be talking about Carol Vorderman. Yep, it's time to talk about Carol Vorderman. And of course, the latest update on the Middle Eastern crisis as well. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.